We've been a leader in banking for more than 100 years. You'll find us here, at home, on your phone, and everywhere you go. Renaissance Bank. Understanding you. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Sponsored by Renaissance Bank.
Good morning, Northeast Mississippi. This is Newsbreak for Thursday, April 13th. I'm Brad Locke. Thanks for joining us, and you can catch Newsbreak each weekday at 7 a.m. Watch it on djournal.com, Facebook, YouTube, or the Daily Journal's mobile apps for Apple and Android devices. We're going to take a quick look at news, sports, and weather for Northeast Mississippi. We'll start with the Weather Underground forecast for today. Clear skies, high of 84 degrees, low of 59, just a 20% chance of rain. The three-day outlook looking like a pleasant weekend for the most part. Friday, partly cloudy, high of 85, low of 61, 20% chance of rain. Saturday, partly cloudy, high of 85, low of 61, 10% chance of rain. Now Sunday, thunderstorms are possible. Going to have a high of 82, a low of 60, and a 50% chance of rain. Let's take a look now at some of the top stories from the Daily Journal and djournal.com on this Thursday. Tweaks to Tupelo's major thoroughfare program funding mechanism are making themselves felt. Efforts to resurface parts of West Jackson Street and Front Street began this week. The milling and paving work on these roads will be paid for by the tax dollars that fund the MTP. And when Tupelo voters renewed the MTP last year, they approved a change to its operations. In years past, the money raised from the program's 10 mil tax levy was exclusively used for major infrastructure projects, such as the construction of new travel lanes and interchanges. However, during each of the 5 years in Phase 6, local officials will be able to use 25% of the MTP's tax revenue for paving and maintenance of select roads. Now, this week's work on West Jackson Street and Front Street represent the first paving projects funded with MTP revenue. There are only two major thoroughfare paving projects scheduled for this year. Combined, they will cost almost $800,000. It's estimated that the 10 mil MTP tax levy will generate $25 million during the 5 years of Phase 6, or about $5 million annually. Legislation recently signed into law by Governor Phil Bryant will require all motor vehicle passengers, including those in the front and back seats, to wear a seatbelt. When the new law goes into effect July 1st, Mississippi will become the 19th state, plus the District of Columbia, where seatbelt use is required in both the front and back seats. Law enforcement can pull over a vehicle where the law is not being followed and issue a traffic citation. This new law is known as Harleys Law, in honor of 15-year-old Harley Ann Brooke Oswalt of Potts Camp. She was killed in a traffic accident on November 21st in Marshall County. Oswalt was one of 4 teenagers involved in the wreck, and she was the only one not wearing a seatbelt. One other passenger died in the wreck. Now, after the accident, Harleys Law legislation was introduced in the Senate and was amended to require only those under 18 to wear a seatbelt in the back seat. But in the House, Representative Steve Massengill and Senator Bill Stone, both of whom represent the area where Oswalt's family lives, were successful in amending the bill so that it again required all passengers to wear seatbelts. The city of Tupelo has completed the latest Safe Routes to School project. New sidewalks will give children and adults alike a safe walking route between Thomas Elementary School and Hancock Park. The project was funded by a federal grant program called Safe Routes to School, with funds distributed in partnership with the Mississippi Department of Transportation. Another Safe Routes sidewalk, constructed in 2015, picks up at Hancock Park and leads to Pierce Elementary School and Tupelo Middle School. The city had to pay about 20% of the latest project's total cost, which was $420,898, with Safe Routes funding the rest. Now, while the sidewalks are designed to give students living in the area a safer way to walk to school, they also should increase the livability of the neighborhood, according to Shane Hooper, Tupelo's Director of Development Services. Ward 7 Councilman Willie Jennings said he'd like to see more sidewalks constructed across the city through Safe Routes to School if the city can secure more grant money. And in sports, LaDavius Draine has dreamed of playing Division I basketball since he was in elementary school, and on Wednesday, the Calhoun City's basketball standout fulfilled that dream when he signed with Southern Miss. Draine, who has been committed to the Golden Eagles for a while, said he liked the Hattiesburg campus and the atmosphere there. A 6'5" guard-forward combo for Calhoun City, Draine averaged 31.2 points, 11.2 rebounds, 4.2 assists, and 4 steals per game as a senior. He led the Wildcats to the state tournament 3 times. He'll play shooting guard for USM, and with his size and shooting range, Draine could make an early impact. Southern Miss posted a 9-22 record last season, including 6-12 in Conference USA. The program is still hindered by sanctions levied by the NCAA. That does it for Newsbreak on this Thursday. We do want to remind you to check out a couple of the podcasts that we produce here at the Daily Journal. We've got The Memo, All Things Northeast Mississippi, with myself and W. Derek Russell. New episodes every Wednesday and Friday. Find it in iTunes, your podcast apps, or at memo.djournal.com. On Wednesday's episode, you can listen to Emma Kent talk about a teacher training program. Also, Dennis Sid talks about home sales, and Caleb Bedillion has an update on the county jail situation. Also, check out double coverage in Ole Miss and Mississippi State Sports Podcast with Parrish Alford and Logan Lowry. New episodes every Thursday. The guys talking about what's going on with the Rebels and the Bulldogs. Find it in iTunes, your podcast apps, or at doublecoverage.djournal.com. All the stories I talked about today you can find in your daily journal or at djournal.com. Find us on Twitter at djournalnow. We're on Facebook too. And that's it for Newsbreak on this Thursday. I'm Brad Locke, and we'll see you next time.